So last time what you learned was you learned how to solve a system of linear equations by graphing. You found the intersection of two lines, and that was the solution to your system of linear equations. However, there are actually three different methods of solving. So we're going to learn a second method today. So methods to solve systems. The first method that you already learned is graphing. That was last time. The second method, which is what we are learning today, is how to solve a system of linear equations by substitution. And that's what we're learning today. Next time we will learn a third method called solving a system of linear equations by elimination. But again, our focus today is solving by substitution. Alright, so again, remember what it means to solve a system. Solving means we're going to find a solution. Okay, and a solution to a system is always going to be a point. And a point has an x and a y coordinate. So no matter which method you solve with, your answer is always going to end with a point. So if you were solving a problem and you needed to write down what your end answer was going to look like, what your goal is going to look like, you would say goal is going to be an x and a y value. So that's what your answer should look like. So here are some steps summarized for you for solving a system. Step 1 says to isolate a variable for the first equation. Remember that isolate means to get by itself. So you're trying to get a variable by itself. Step 2 is to substitute and solve into the second equation. So you're taking the first equation and you're replacing something in the second equation with that first equation. And step 3 is to substitute and solve to find the other value or the other variable. Alright, so let's try this in number 1 together. Alright, so number 1, we're given two equations. Remember, these two equations together form a system. We need to find the solution to this system, so we know, again, that our goal is going to be a point, x and y. Alright, so let's write the first equation from number 1. The first equation is y equals negative 2x minus 9. Okay, well, do we have a variable by itself here? Yes, we do. That variable is y. Alright, so now look at the second equation. The second equation is 6x minus 5y equals negative 19. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take what y is equal to and replace it over here in equation 2. Alright, so rewrite everything except for y. What we plug in for y here is going to be this value because it is equal to y. So let's see what that looks like. 6x minus 5 times negative 2x minus 9 equals negative 19. By doing this, we no longer have two variables in the equation, we only have an x variable. That means I can simplify this equation and solve for a value for x. So let's simplify. First, let's get rid of the parentheses by distributing. Alright, so negative 5 times negative 2x is a positive 10x. Negative 5 times negative 9 is a positive 45. Bring down everything else. Okay, then combine your like terms. And we get 16x plus 45 equals negative 19. Now solve for x. Subtract 45 on both sides. And we get that 16x is equal to negative 64. Divide by 16 on both sides. And we get that x is equal to negative 4. So now we know the x value of the point of our solution. So remember, the solution of your system is always going to be an x and a y value that create a point. So let's take our x that we found and plug it in. So negative 4. Well, now we need to find the y value. So what can we use to find y? Well, you already have an equation where y is by itself. So let's rewrite that equation over here and plug in what we know. We know that x is equal to negative 4. So take that and plug it into this x. So we get y equals negative 2 times negative 4 minus 9. So we get y equals 8 minus 9. Therefore, y is equal to negative 1. Alright, so now we have the y value of our solution. So we go and plug that in. So our answer here, it may have taken a while to get here, but we finally have an answer, and our answer is the point negative 4, negative 1. If we were to graph both of these equations on a grid, this would be the point where they intersect. Now pause the video and attempt number 2. Once you have completed number 2 and your final answer is a point with an x and a y value, then unpause and see if you got it correct. Hopefully you got your answer to be the .-11. Now I want you to attempt number 3 on the back on your own. Remember that your goal is to get a point that has an x and a y value. Okay, and if you can solve this and get it correct, take a picture of it and send it to me through chat on Remind 101. And if you have it correct and your work is all there, you're going to get 5 bonus points on your first quiz of the 6 weeks. And here is your hint. You must get one of the equations to have an isolated variable. In other words, have a variable, either an x or a y, where that variable is by itself. There's your hint. I'm not going to put it in the video. Solve it yourself. Take a picture of it. Send it to me on Remind 101. And if you get it correct, then you're going to get 5 bonus points on your first quiz of the 6 weeks. Good luck.